to the e-learning portal of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. We're now on session 9 of module 1, and the topic is terms and methods of payment. Terms and methods of payment. There are 7 objectives set in this session. 7 objectives have been set to achieve in this session. In fact, I'm hoping that at the end of the entire session 9, you will understand 1, the different possibilities of payment available to a seller and a buyer in terms of when to pay and how to pay for goods in international trade. You will also be able to understand and identify types of bill of exchange. 3, you would be able to differentiate between the various terms of payment to enable you advise your future clients about the safest and most secured method of payment in international trade. 4, I hope you'll be able to advise a seller on responsibility for delivery and when conditions are met for payment to be fulfilled by the buyer. 5, you will understand what is a letter of credit, and you'll be able to identify the differences in the types of letter of credit. 6, you'll be able to list all the documents required under letter of credit. And 7, you will appreciate what freight forwarders have to do before shipment, and you will clearly understand the role of a forwarder in a letter of credit sales. Let us start with method of payment. Method of payment defines how payment will be made. This is to do with the how of payment. And there are 4 of them. Number 1 is open or credit account. Number 2 is payment or cash in advance. Number 3 is banker's documentary collection or cash against documents. Number 4 is banker's documentary credit, which is the letter of credit. These are the 4 hows of payment. Now let's look at the when of payment. The when is the terms of payment. This determines when payment will be made. For open accounts, it may have typically 30 days from the invoice date. For cash in advance, it can be demanded by just the mere presentation of a pro forma invoice. For bankers' documentary collection and letter of credit, is paid at sight or as soon as documents are seen. These are the when of payment. I hope you understand it that way. I will take each at a time, beginning with open or credit account. Let me begin with the payment or cash in advance. Under payment or cash in advance, the seller sends an invoice to the buyer. After the buyer makes payment for his or her goods, the seller dispatches the goods to the buyer. Simple as that. At this stage, the seller loses control after the payment and the shipment of the goods. It is the most secure term for the seller. Now, in open or credit account, the seller dispatches the goods to the buyer and sends invoice at the same time. Any document of title is also sent to the buyer. At this stage, the seller loses control of the goods when they dispatch them and trust the buyer to pay. This is based on trust of buyer to pay. And this makes it the least secure term for the seller. Bankers' documentary collection. And in fact, collections and the administration by banks are subject to the International Chamber of Commerce uniform rules for collection. And this you can refer to from the ICC website. Under bankers' documentary collection, the seller dispatches goods directly to the buyer. Documents of title are given to the seller's bank, which sends them to the buyer's bank through the banking system. According to the accompanying instructions, the buyer's bank will only hand over the documents of title to the buyer against payment or acceptance of a bill of exchange. The seller retains control of goods until payment is made or a legally binding undertaking to pay is given by the buyer. Documentary collection by named bank. There are times when there are documentary collections with a named bank. Under this, the person writing the bill, the seller or exporter, is called the drawer, and also the payee is the one who gets the money. The person writing the bill, the seller or the exporter, is the drawer, and also they are also the payee or one who gets the money. So seller or exporter is referred to as the drawer and also referred to as the payee, because the seller is finally the person who gets the money. The person to whom the bill is addressed is the buyer or importer, and the importer is referred to in documentary collection by named bank as the drawee, who is also what? The payer, and is expected to pay as the specified time. Under documentary collection by named bank, the goods are dispatched directly to the buyer, but documents of title are given to the seller's bank, who in turn sends the documents to the buyer's bank through the banking system. The buyer's bank can only hand over the documents of title to the buyer after payment or against acceptance of a draft. Under this, the seller retains control of goods until the payment is made or a legally binding undertaking to pay is given.